Peace, peace. How you doing, everybody? This your brother Kimbe. This is the first installment of Kimbe Reads. This is a series that I'm putting together with the help of a number of other people and organizations that highlights the significance and the importance of black writers the world over. So this includes writers of African descent, authors, poets, playwrights of African descent from the Caribbean, of course, the Americas, both North and South. Again, of course, the continent, of course, Asia, wherever we find black authors or authors of African descent over the world. The first installment or our first selection would be Assata Shakur, Assata, an autobiography written by Assata Shakur. What is cool about this particular book, or at least the one that I possess, is that the foreword is written by Angela Davis, you know, the revolutionary activist, the legend, source of inspiration for, you know, young revolutionary rebellious minds across the globe. The reception she just received in Brazil was words can't even do it justice. I mean, I'm still speechless. I believe Angela Davis is still speechless over the reception that she received in Brazil, you know, as well as, of course, the attorney Lennox S. Hines, very important individual. If you don't know Mr. Hines, you should definitely look him up and see his contribution to various freedom struggles in the United States and, of course, the UK. I'm going to start by reading you some blurbs from the back of the book. It says, this one comes from Choice. It says, this is a sober, restrained, but forceful recollection, a must book for those interested in the revolutionaries of the 1960s. So in your course of study, I don't know if you're in school, if you're not in school, or if you're just an individual who's interested in what was going on in that decade, the 1960s. I know I am, you know what I mean, being born in 1991, I'm very much interested in what happened 30 years prior to my birth, because I know that all history is a current event, and I learned that from Dr. John Henrik Clarke. But that was from Choice. Choice says, again, it's a sober, restrained, but forceful recollection, a must book for those interested in the revolutionaries of the 1960s. The next blurb comes from the New York Times Book Review. It says, it's a deftly written book, a spellbinding tale. A spellbinding tale. Last but not least, we have a blurb from the Library Journal. The Library Journal says, this is a compelling tale of the impact of white racism on a sensitive and powerful young black woman. Again, this is from Library Journal. Wow. It says, this is a compelling tale of the impact of white racism on a sensitive and powerful young black woman. Again, this is Assata. You know, this is our first selection for Kimbe Reads. You know, the summary. It says, on May 2nd, 1973, Black Panther Assata Shakur, aka Joanne Chesimard, lay in a hospital close to death, handcuffed to her bed, while local, state, and federal police attempted to question her about the shootout on the New Jersey Turnpike that had claimed the life of a white state trooper. Whoa. Long a target of J. Edgar Hoover's campaign to defame, infiltrate, and criminalize black nationalist organizations and their leaders, Shakur was incarcerated for 4 years prior to her conviction on flimsy evidence in 1977 as an accomplice to murder. This intensely personal and political autobiography belies the fearsome image of Joanne Chesimard, long projected by the media and the state. With wit and candor, Assata Shakur recounts the experiences that led her to a life of activism and portrays the strengths, the weaknesses, and eventual demise of black and white revolutionary groups at the hands of government officials. The result is a signal contribution to the literature about growing up black in America that has already taken its place alongside the autobiography of Malcolm X and the works of Maya Angelou. 2 years after her conviction, Assata Shakur escaped from prison. She was given political asylum by Cuba, where she now resides. Again, the selection is Assata Shakur, Assata, an autobiography. As you can see, it's written by Assata. The foreword is by Angela Davis and Lennox X. Hines. Let's take a look. There's some things I want to highlight. First and foremost, this one was copywritten in 1987 by Zed Books Ltd. It was originally published in the United Kingdom by Zed Books Ltd. It's published in the United States by Lawrence Hill Books, which is an imprint of Chicago Review Press Incorporated. So I just wanted you guys to know who published the text in the U.S. as well as where it was originally published. Okay, the next thing I want to draw your attention to is the table of contents, and in particular, this book has 21 chapters, and I'm going to go through each one and provide a little bit of an analysis and a breakdown for each chapter. Not now, but throughout the series. There's 21 chapters. What I want to draw your attention to right now is what they call the trial chronology. I think it's a really cool feature of this book in particular, especially if you have absolutely no background as to what was happening during this time. Again, this happened so many years ago. You know, for some people, they act like it's ancient history, and we got to understand the context is not the same. Things that were going on in society then are not necessarily going on in society now. Some things are, some things have evolved, some things have transformed, but some things are no longer existing. And we have to really appreciate those details in order to appreciate this autobiography. So let's look at the trial chronology really quickly. The trial chronology is just that. It doesn't provide you with a summary or an analysis or any definitive, anything. It has the date of the alleged crime and the charge. The next column is the jurisdiction, state or federal. Next, it shows you the date of arraignment. After that, you have the trial date. And, some people think most importantly is the disposition. Was it dismissed? Was it acquitted? Was it a hung jury? Was she charged at the venue? These things matter. Again, this book has 21 chapters. We're not going to go through it right now, but what I will tell you is this was very thoughtfully put together, and this is why I say that. Every odd number chapter, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, so on and so forth, that particular chapter is always dedicated to her case, her trial, something involving her moving from various prisons, run-ins and incidences with the marshals, FBI, state troopers, neo-Nazi groups, Ku Klux Klan, whoever, her lawyers and attorneys, friends. That's the odd chapters are dedicated to that. The even chapters are dedicated to giving you context about her childhood all the way up to her adult life and the various things that affects her and affects her worldview and why she thinks the way that she thinks. Why does she feel the way that she feels? What is informing her decisions? Why does she go into activism? How does she get into activism? Her road, her journey. It's very important because if you miss that, you miss a significant portion of this book. Frankly, I wouldn't know how you would grow from this book or develop a unbiased, objective opinion about these significant events if you didn't have any context, if you didn't have no clue as to her background, how she was raised, her parents, her grandparents. You know what I'm saying? What city was she raised in? Where did she move to? What college or university did she attend? What type of individuals did she come across during her journey? You know what I'm saying? All of this is important. But again, I'm not going to break down the chapters right now. I will also like to inform you guys of another cool thing about this book is that every so often, not every chapter, but almost like every other chapter, you have some original poetry and prose from Assata that is, to me personally, it almost makes the entire book. It's powerful, it's provocative, it gets my creative juices flowing. It makes me want to write some poetry, which I haven't done in a long time. And it's informative. It can be petty, it can be deep, it can be beautiful and ugly all at the same time. And I want to read you one of her excerpts or poems that begins the book. This is before chapter 1, and it's called Affirmation. And I just wanted to share that with you really quickly, and then we're going to wrap up this segment. Affirmation. I believe in living. I believe in the spectrum of beta days and gamma people. I believe in sunshine, in windmills and waterfalls, tricycles and rocking chairs. And I believe seeds grow into sprouts, and sprouts grow into trees. I believe in the magic of the hands and in the wisdom of the eyes. I believe in rain and tears and in the blood of infinity. I believe in life, and I have seen the death parade march through the torso of the earth, sculpting mud bodies in its path. I have seen the destruction of the daylight and seen bloodthirsty maggots prayed to and saluted. I have seen the kind become the blind, and the blind become the bind in one easy lesson. I have walked on cut glass. I have eaten crow and blunder bread, and breathed the stench of indifference. I have been locked by the lawless, handcuffed by the haters, gagged by the greedy. And if I know anything at all, it's that a wall is just a wall and nothing more at all. It can be broken down. I believe in living. I believe in birth. I believe in the sweat of love and in the fire of truth. And I believe that a lost ship, steered by tired, seasick sailors, can still be guided home to port. That was Affirmation by Assata Shakur. I appreciate you spending some time with me. We're going to shortly get into the first segment dealing with chapter 1. Bear with me. Again, this is Kimbe Reads. Our first selection is Assata, an autobiography written by Assata Shakur, forward by Angela Davis and Lennox X. Hines. It's a worthy read. Hopefully my goal is to convince you to purchase this book and really gain an appreciation for this woman and all the people that she come across and what she's been through. I'm not here to sway your thoughts on the issue one way or the other. I pray that I can be as objective as you are. And we're going to get through this together. We're going to digest this. We're going to go over the ingredients. We're going to digest this together because it's worth it. And I know it's hard to read in this day and time, so I'm going to help you out with that. Again, this brother Kimbe. It's a pleasure being with you. Kimbe Reads. Stay tuned. One love.